Hello and welcome to a Sunny Reading Corner. I'm Sunny and welcome to my new YouTube channel. I am an avid reader, enthusiastic book lover, and just here for all things bookish. I am thrilled to be joining BookTube and I am so excited to share my love of books with y'all. So for my first video, I thought what better way to kick it off than with an introduction and the BookTube Newbie tag. So before we get into the BookTube Newbie tag, I just wanted to do a little introduction about myself. I am Sunny. I graduated from Georgia Tech with a degree in discrete math back in 2020. And that degree also coincided with a 4-year reading hiatus as I was mostly trying not to fail all of my classes and did not have time for books. But once I graduated in 2020, my dad talked me into buying a Kindle before I left to spend 4 months in Alaska. And that was one of the best purchases of my life. That Kindle and I have been through so much together since. It really kicked off my reading era, and I am still in that era 3 years later and hope it keeps going for a while. So these days I am a consultant working fully remote, and I absolutely love my life. I am so lucky. I have a wonderful work-life balance that gives me plenty of time to enjoy my hobbies, number one of which is reading. And I also get to travel a ton since I work fully remote. So that means I am taking my Kindle with me everywhere. So I'm so excited to take you guys on the journey of all the places I go and all of the books that I read. Without further ado, let's jump into the newbie tag itself. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? So I love social media and I love talking about books. I have a book talk, I'm on Bookstagram, I'm frequently on Goodreads, less frequently on Storygraph, though I am trying to be better. All of those have the same username, A Sunny Reading Corner. You should definitely go find me there. But I really wanted to kind of dive in and try something new. I wanted to do some longer videos because every time I finish a book, I end up calling my mom and it's at least a 15-minute conversation telling her the plot of the entire book I just read if I don't think she's also going to read it. And then after I've explained it all to her, I go in and pick apart every detail of the book and give her all of my thoughts about it. And my poor sweet mother deserves a break. So YouTube seemed like a wonderful place to get to dump all of my thoughts and feelings about books and just share with you guys and hear what you guys have to say about your books too. I've been a watcher on here for a while, but it'll be fun to participate. I'm excited. The second question is, what are you most excited for about this channel? So I am so excited to join the community that BookTube has to offer. I think one of the most special things about books is how it just manages to bring people together in such a wonderful way. I know that at least with my TikTok, my videos end up on some For You page of friends I haven't spoken to in a while. They'll reach out and be like, oh my gosh, you like these books? I like these books too. And it's just rekindled a whole new relationship between the two of us. And I've made friends with new people I had never talked to before and got into texting with them. And they give me some of the best book recommendations ever. So I am so looking forward to making new friends and meeting new people on BookTube and just joining that community. Because it's so wonderful seeing it from the outside in and I really want to jump in and participate. Question number 3, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to this channel? So number 1, I know I've got a loud personality. I have a lot of personality. I'm bubbly, I'm here, I definitely can bring that to the table. But I have found my niche with Kindle Unlimited fantasy romance. Oh man, am I here for that. So if you are looking for good Kindle Unlimited fantasy romance recs, I have got you covered. Not to brag too much, but I have definitely been very early on the train for a lot of series that are just so popular now, and it makes me feel like a hipster, and I am so excited to share those with you. Hopefully early, but even if it's not early, a book recommendation that's good is a book recommendation that's good. So I hope that I'm able to find good books, help you find new indie authors that maybe you haven't heard of before or wouldn't have found otherwise, and help you make the absolute most out of a Kindle Unlimited subscription, especially if you love fantasy romance, or paranormal romance, or urban fantasy romance, or romantasy, or really anything that is a combination of romantic subplot, some good plot, and a fantasy element. If it's got those things in it, oh man, I am there. Next up is, why do you love reading? So honestly, I'm a little concerned about myself at this point. I don't know if it's as much a love for reading as it is an absolute addiction to reading. My friends can tell you, I will text them that I am starting a book at 6 p.m. and I will have like that book and at least half of the next book finished by the time I text them when they wake up in the morning, because I can't put books down. I love getting immersed in a story so much, and I have an absolute inability to stop reading until my eyes start to blur and I absolutely have to pass out. I'll ignore every responsibility I have once I start a good book. It's just such a wonderful way to just lose yourself. The other thing I love about reading is texting those friends in the morning and just absolutely dying with them over the plot points that happen in the book. It just creates such a fun bond to have read the same books as other people, and I love talking about books with people. So reading is just, I think, the ultimate hobby. It's portable, it's fun, it's a time suck, but it's the best time suck. I mean, I could be scrolling on TikTok, which, I mean, I do frequently too, but I am so here for all things reading. So number 5 is, when did you start reading? So one of my earliest memories is being absolutely devastated because I was struggling so hard with those Dick and Jane books and getting the word the and. But the second I got through those, it was over for everyone. I was reading anything I could get my hands on. I have my mom to thank for this. She totally kicked me and my brother into reading when we were so little, and she would read aloud to us all of the time, which I think is going to bring me into the next question. So let me read that one first, which is, what book or series got you into reading? So we're kind of combining the two questions. It's fine. So my mom, like I said, is responsible for this. My memories of childhood include sitting on the floor of either my bedroom or my brother's bedroom and having my mom read aloud to us. We went through so many series. We did Little House on the Prairie, Chronicles of Narnia. I remember her reading The Hobbit to us, and then the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. It was insane. And we did Fablehaven by Brandon Mull, was I think one of our absolute favorites as a family. And then if we were in a car, we would do audiobooks as a family. So there has always been a culture of reading and books and a love for books in my family, which I am so grateful for. And then when I started to develop my own tastes, I got into Seabiscuit by Laura Hillenbrand. Is probably one of my favorite books of all time. I love the Harry Potter series. Poison Study by Maria Snyder. I loved so many fantasy things from a young age. My mom got me on Goodreads really, really young, which I love because I was able to kind of see my taste grow up with me, except for the period in high school where I was very stubborn and refused to log any of my books on Goodreads, which was my bad. But it's been really great because I get to see kind of the progression of books and what stayed the same and what hasn't stayed the same. And honestly, a lot of the books that I loved in middle school, I had some questionable taste, but I still love. I'm still here for the Hunger Games. I'm still here for the Twilight. And so those books have stayed with me even through now. Okay, question number 7 is, what would you ask your favorite booktuber? Oh, there are so many booktubers out there I love. I mean, who does not love Jack Edwards? He's absolutely darling, so wonderful. The Book Leo has some of my favorite recommendations. Chandler Ansley, I don't always like the books that she recommends because we have very different tastes, but I love listening to her talk about books. It's wonderful. And they have all talked about books, and I think almost every booktuber has talked about books that they love. But one thing I would love to hear is like, what event caused you to pick up books for the first time, really? Like for me, it was my mom reading to us as kids, really just got me to love reading from a young age. But like, was it a teacher that got them and like gave them a great book recommendation? Did they love hanging out at the local library over the summers? Like, what environment, what caused them to become such voracious readers? I always think that's so interesting to hear about people. Okay, the next question are, what challenges do you think will be the hardest to overcome with BookTube? I have been so intimidated to join YouTube. One thing that scares me so badly about it is it seems so much less casual than my other social media platforms are. I think the barrier of entry to like BookTok and Bookstagram is so low. For BookTok, I feel like I can just whip out my phone and make a video the moment I think of an idea. And for Bookstagram, I'm just taking pictures all over the place of any bookish thing I happen upon, or my books with the background, it's just like the tree in my backyard. But for BookTube, the bar seems so high. And without all of the lights and the cameras and the microphones and everything, I worry that my production quality is not going to be as high, and like I can't just whip out my phone and do it whenever I feel like. This involves some planning, and that scares me. I worry it's not going to be as fun if it's not as casual, but I am so committed to making it fun for myself and keeping it still pretty casual. If I have an idea, I'm going to film it. This background's probably going to change behind me a lot because I travel a lot, and I'm going to take my phone and do it when I want to. So I'm excited about that. I'm very intimidated, but I'm still ready to jump in and give it a try, and I'm gonna keep it fun for myself. If it's no longer fun, why are you doing it? Okay, the next thing is, where do you like to read? So like I mentioned, I am such a huge traveler. I'm always all over the place, and my Kindle is always with me. So my Kindle has been on a houseboat in Lake Powell. It's spent 4 months in the Alaskan wilderness with me. It's been to Hawaii, it's been to Mexico, it's been to Europe. It goes everywhere I go. So anywhere I have it is a great place to read. Planes, trains, automobiles. Not automobiles, because I do get very car sick. So that is the exception to the place I'll read. But I love having that everywhere with me. I do love a paperback and a good cozy chair though. That's really, really hard to beat. But I don't know, exotic locations or cozy, I swear, if you have a book, it's just like 10 times better. Okay, and the very last question is, what kind of books do you like to read? So I know I touched on, my bread and butter is fantasy romance. It is my jam. Some of my favorite fantasy romances are Feather by Olivia Wildstein, Between by L.L. Starling. Oh my gosh, there's just so many. That's gonna be its own video. I could spend forever talking about favorite fantasy romances. But other than fantasy romance, I do try and branch out quite a bit. I talked about my brother a little bit, and he's into horror and thrillers and Stephen King. So I try and read a Stephen King every once in a while, so I have a good book to talk about him with. He also loves fantasy, so I do Brandon Sanderson because I love it and because he loves it. Other books that I like to read, I try and do either a nonfiction or a classic once a month because I worry that all the fluff I read may be rotting my brain. I know people say reading's good for you, but sometimes I worry about my reading taste. But I will pick up just about anything and give it a shot. But I think that sums up all of the questions. I am just so excited to be here on BookTube, so excited to start my journey and sharing my love of books with you all. And I hope you guys come and enjoy being in a sunny reading corner.